Today, we're going to talk about some of my most anticipated horror books of 2026. And there is a lot of good ones that are coming out, at least that I hope to be good. So the first one we have is The Caretaker by Marcus Klewer. This is the author that wrote the book We Used to Live Here, which was absolutely weird and off the wall and super strange, and I absolutely loved it. I do have a standalone review for that, so I'll link that down below if you're interested in that book and you haven't checked that one out, but I'm super excited for this one. There's an exciting opportunity. Caretaker, urgently needed. 3 days of work, competitive pay, serious applicants only. Macy Mullins can't say why the job posting grabbed her attention. It had the pull of a fisherman's lure. Barbed hook and all, vaguely ominous. But after an endless stream of failed job interviews, she's not exactly in a position to be picky. She has rent to pay, groceries to buy, and a younger sister to provide for. Besides, it's only 3 days work. 3 days, cooped up in a stranger's house, surrounded by Oregon coast wilderness. What starts as a peculiar side gig soon becomes a waking nightmare. An incomprehensible evil may dwell on this property, and Macy Mullins might just be the only thing standing between it and the rest of humanity. And then it says, follow the rights, follow the rights, follow the rights. R-I-T-E-S, rights. Is that some sort of chanting? I'm not really sure. It sounds creepy and weird, and I am super excited for that. These aren't in the order of when they're coming out, but I will put down in the description the release dates of these books. They come out between February all the way up until, I think, August. So that'll be down in the description if you want release dates for any of these. Okay, so the next one I'm super excited for is Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. And this is the author of the book Bat Eater and Other Names for Corazing. And that book was absolutely fantastic. So Japanese Gothic, October 2026. Lee Turner doesn't remember how or why he killed his college roommate. The details are blurred and bloody. All he knows is that he has to flee New York and go to the one place that might offer refuge. His father's new home in Japan, a house hidden by sword ferns and wild ginger. But something is terribly wrong with the house. No animals will come near it. The bedroom window isn't always a window. And a woman with a sword appears in the yard when night falls. October 1877. Sen is a young samurai in exile, hiding from the imperial soldiers in a house behind the sword ferns. A monster came home from war wearing her father's face. But Sen would do anything to please him, even turn her sword on her own mother. She knows the soldiers will soon slaughter her whole family when she sees a terrible omen, a young foreign man who appears outside her window. One of these people is a ghost, and one of these stories is a lie. Something is hiding beneath the house of sword ferns, and Lee and Sin will soon wish they never unburied it. And that sounds absolutely haunting and strange. Okay, next up we have, I'm going to try to say this with a straight face, Bone of My Bone by Joanna Van Veen. Why would you laugh, Sin? Because I am 5. Okay, so anyways, Bone of My Bone by Joanna Van Veen. The year is 1635. Sister Ursula, a young nun fleeing the ruins of her convent, and Elsbeth, a sharp-witted peasant, escape a band of marauding soldiers and disappear into the Bavarian forest. War scorches the land, and no one survives it alone. Amid the devastation, they find something in the arms of a dying man, the gilded skull of a saint. It is said that if you reunite the saint's skull with her body, a wish will be granted. Desperate for salvation, and each with secret desires of their own, Ursula and Elsbeth follow a ragged map across the blighted countryside. But darkness follows them. A necromancer, drawn to the relic's power. The saint herself, whispering at night. And as the lines between blessing and curse blur, the women must face a harrowing truth. The magic they seek comes at a cost. At the journey's end, they'll face an impossible choice. One that could tear apart everything they know, or bind them together to each other forever. And I've enjoyed the 2 other books by this author that I've read. This sounds pretty fantastic. It sounds more dark fantasy, I would say, than horror. Probably like horror/dark fantasy-ish. Next up, we have one of the twistiest of twisty authors in the land, and one of my absolute favorites, and that is Catriona Ward's new one called Nowhere Burning. Super stoked to get my hands on this one. Secrets in the Flames, Answers in the Ashes. Riley and her brother Oliver set off in the pitch black night, fleeing their troubled home. They are heading for nowhere, an abandoned ranch, once the playground of its former eccentric movie star owner. now a haven for runaways. What awaits could be the freedom they crave. But this mysterious clan guards dark secrets, and the scorched grounds hold the ghosts of the past. Riley quickly realizes that while she and Oliver may have escaped the devil they knew, something darker lurks in the burnt shell of nowhere. Something which asks a terrible price for sanctuary. Sounds super creepy, and I am into it. Next up we have Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep by Paul Tremblay. Meet Julia Flang, a 20-something former semi-professional gamer, living with her retired uncle and working 2 jobs she doesn't like. Out of the blue, her estranged mother, a CFO for one of the world's largest tech companies, offers her a temp job with a payday that Julia can't refuse. One sham interview later, she's offered the job to chaperone a man in a vegetative state, one with proprietary AI implanted in his head, from California to the East Coast. To sum up in Julia's own words, "You want me to remote control this dead dude across the country?" In a word, yes, but he's not dead. Meet a middle-aged man who wakes within a disorienting hellscape filled with monstrous grotesqueries, worse than the fluid, morphing reality in which he's trapped. He has no memory of who he is. He certainly doesn't remember getting the rabbit tattoo on his arm. He only knows that he must find a certain person who he can't remember. Using a cell phone modeled after a video game controller, Julia fumblingly navigates the man she calls Bernie. I wonder if that's a nod to Weekend at Bernie's, probably. From the company campus and onto planes and through one of the largest airports in America, all while the man endures an ever-changing and worsening nightmare that offers clues as to who he was and who he must track down. And as their 2 lives intertwine, Julia and Bernie become unlikely allies and fugitives on a collision course with reality. That sounds absolutely bonkers, and I can't wait to read it. Okay, next up, this is an author that has become a must-read author for me, and that is Clay McLeod Chapman and his newest, Devil Inside. After a traumatic accident that almost cost Jordan his life, he's finally starting to feel normal again. Well, maybe not normal. Everything tastes like ash. And when he looks at the people around them, their faces start to melt. At least he's not dead, right? His friends are doing their best to get him back on his feet, maybe find someone to talk to, perhaps find someone to take his mind off his last failed relationship. Then he meets Lilith. The 2 share an instant connection, but after a wild and passionate night together, she ghosts him. Jordan searches the city for Lilith, desperate to see her again. But when a woman claiming to be Lilith shows up, wearing a different face, but knowing intimate details about Jordan, he worries he's losing his grip on reality. As he grows closer to this mysterious woman, he discovers that happily ever after sometimes comes at a cost. How far will Lilith take him, and how much darkness will he embrace to find love? We're learning in all these books, everything comes with a cost. There is a price to be paid. After that, we have another author that I have grown to love that writes really weird and out there books, and the book is called Abyss by Nicholas Binge. And I've read 2 of his other books, which were absolutely fantastic. One was Ascension, and the other one was Disillusion. Both awesome. I have standalone reviews for both of those. Those will be down below if you're interested in checking that out. But this one, Abyss, it says Severance meets Lovecraft in his surreal tale of corporate horror and existential dread. Joe always had potential, but he doesn't expect much, and he hopes that his new job as an admin assistant won't expect much of him. But when he enters the offices of Panos, a company he's never heard of and knows nothing about, he discovers the potential is exactly what they want from him. And that sounds very intriguing. Okay, next we have The Haunted Houses She Calls Her Own by Gwendolyn Kist. And the last book I read by this author was The Haunting of Velkwood, which was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't read that and you like weird haunted, I would say house, it's not a house. The whole street is haunted. Haunted stories, definitely check it out. It's awesome. So enter a world possessed by recriminations from bygone eras where the regrets and malice of years past still reverberate and shape our doom. Here, morally complex women and queer anti-heroines swim against the current of a social structure that serves as a spectral prison in these layered stories of the weird and the other. So this is a short story book. I usually try to read like a couple of those a year. This one sounded very intriguing to me, so excited to check this one out. What are some of the horror releases you are looking forward to this year? Let me know. I'm always curious to hear. I'm always looking for more stuff, more good horror. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.